Joanna Small, the Public Information Officer for the Commerce City Police Department. It's Monday, November 17th, and these are your weekend high or low lights, depending on how you look at them. It's essentially our video blotter where we give you a rundown of the most significant incidents your CCPD patrol officers responded to over the weekend. But we always like to start these off with a few fast facts. We answered 279 calls for service, and our traffic team made 49 traffic stops just on Saturday and Sunday. Now here are those highlights in chronological order. These first two incidents both occurred on Thursday, and you likely saw both posted about on our social media platforms. The first was a road rage incident that resulted in the suspect pulling a gun on another driver. We located the suspect vehicle and stopped it at Highway 2 in Turnberry. The driver refused to exit the vehicle, and an hours-long standoff ensued. Our SWAT team used our Bearcat and a patrol vehicle to pin in the suspect vehicle to ensure he could not drive away. Our negotiators then talked him into surrendering. We recovered what was a very realistic BB gun from the vehicle. The suspect is now facing aggravated felony menacing charges with a gun. The second incident was a vehicle versus bicycle crash in the 6900 block of Highway 2. The driver of the vehicle remained on scene and was cooperative with the investigation. The cyclist was transported to the hospital with critical injuries. The roadway was shut down for several hours while our traffic team investigated this incident. Overnight Friday, a verbal argument between a male and female turned physical when the male punched her in front of her 3 children. The suspect fled the scene, and we learned he had several outstanding felony warrants for his arrest. We located him inside a nearby apartment unit and took him into custody for domestic violence, third-degree assault, child abuse, and his warrants. Again, overnight Friday, a proactive CCPD patrol officer observed a vehicle swerving into oncoming traffic at East 88th Avenue and Highway 2. He conducted a traffic stop and removed the driver, who was heavily intoxicated, from the vehicle. He is now facing charges for DUI, careless driving, driving without a license, and having no insurance. Good work, patrol. On Saturday, officers were sent to a disturbance in the 5400 block of East 60th Avenue for a male and female who were fighting. The male was said to have broken a window of a second-floor apartment, and the female broke a windshield of a car in the parking lot with a trash can lid. Through investigation, it was determined the female was the primary aggressor. She was arrested for domestic violence, criminal mischief, and harassment. The male was taken into custody on a felony second-degree assault warrant. Also on Saturday, officers responded to a shots fired call in the 18,000 block of East 97th Place. A suspect in a vehicle fired half a dozen rounds after an altercation, striking a nearby house. We have the suspect identified and are currently working on taking him into custody. Fortunately, no one was injured. Again on Saturday, officers responded to an assault that had occurred the night before in the parking lot of a restaurant in the 5400 block of Quebec Street. After an argument, the suspect attacked the victim, rendering him unconscious and knocking out some of his teeth. Witnesses reported the suspect then got into a vehicle and attempted to unsuccessfully run the victim over. We are working on getting surveillance video of this incident. Overnight Saturday, officers were dispatched to a crash in the 10,000 block of South Lawn Circle. We arrived on scene and found a vehicle high-centered on an outdoor staircase just feet away from a house. Officers learned the driver fled the scene prior to our response. 2 juvenile passengers stayed and were turned over to their parents. The suspect in this hit-and-run crash is still at large at this time. Also overnight Saturday, officers responded to a stabbing in the 4800 block of East 62nd Avenue. That's where the victim was located, but he advised the crime had actually occurred at Veterans Memorial Park. Officers located the suspect, who admitted to stabbing the victim and trying to hide the weapon. The suspect then showed officers where they could recover the knife. The victim was transported to the hospital with serious injuries, and the suspect was arrested for first-degree assault with a weapon charges. And again, overnight Saturday, officers responded to a vehicle crash and subsequent fire in the 4600 block of I-270 eastbound. The vehicle struck the cable guardrails and came to a stop underneath them, then caught fire. The driver self-extricated and the fire department put out the flames. Officers determined the driver was intoxicated and took him into custody for DUI and careless driving. And finally, overnight Sunday, officers were called to a hospital for a victim that had driven himself there after an assault that had occurred in the 5600 block of Bowen Court. A witness who was on scene there told officers the victim was dragged from his vehicle and assaulted by 4 suspects, one of them using a pipe. The victim suffered serious bodily injury. This is still under investigation. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. Have a safer week, Commerce City. And remember, if you need us, we are always just minutes away.